Hey, good people. It is KaCey, and this is a very special edition of On the Front Porch. Y'all know I usually record and then upload later as we usually drop new episodes on Fridays, but we're doing something a little different on tonight, and I'm excited about it. So we are going live. We are broadcasting both on Facebook, if you follow me at KaCey Venning, or you can head on over to our guest tonight, to his YouTube channel, and that is at Unfiltered Polo Blue, and we'll put all that up on the screen for you so you know exactly where to go. But if you're not already liking his content, subscribing to his channel, you might want to do that. It's definitely insightful, entertaining, enlightening, all the things. I promise you won't regret it. So if this is your first time, right, just tuning in and enjoying an episode of On the Front Porch, this is your first time meeting me. My name is KaCey, and I love to talk about things that impact our community, from our faith to our families, to how we show up for those who may be deemed the least of these. And a lot of it comes from a sociological and a theological perspective, with a little bit of politics in there. And as you all know, I am a girl raised in the South and proud of it. And so I like to give you the hard things with a little bit of sweetener, right? So get your proverbial sweet tea, whatever that looks like for you, whatever it is you're sipping on, and hopefully you will learn a little bit. And maybe some things will be brought back to your remembrance of how we should just treat each other. But I'm super excited because tonight we're going to talk about thinking outside of the box as we think about growth and mentorship and what that means for our community. So at this time, I'm going to bring our special guest up, and I am going to let him, hey there.
Hello.
I'm going to let him introduce himself again in case folks didn't see the first episode. Blue, will you let the folks know who you are?
Yes, Ricardo Allen, nickname is Polo Blue. I host Unfiltered Polo Blue now on Instagram and on YouTube. I did my first complete show last night. I've been on Instagram for about 7 months. Um, Born in Mississippi, raised in Tennessee, graduated with a degree in communications from Mississippi Valley State University. And I'm in logistics by trade. And I also like to talk on social media. And father of one son. And I just think that, we have a lot of work to do in the community, and the community being a Black person from America, as well as just a community of Americans living in America.
Hmm.
That's a whole mouthful, but uh, again, you can call me Blue, and I'm here to give you an unfiltered version of a Southern gentleman's take on anything.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for joining us once again. All right, well, let's jump right into it. So, thinking outside of the box. When I think about that, what immediately comes to my mind is that we have a lot of folks who kind of just jump on bandwagons of thoughts, right? That there's not a lot of creativity in the sense of maybe a thought pattern or a mindset, or feeling as though we have to move very, very far away from the things that are foundational. And so I know you to be someone who doesn't necessarily follow the crowd. As a leader, you set the tone, you lead the pack. So when you say thinking outside of the box, what are some things that come to your mind, or what is it that you want us to focus on when we hear that phrase?
I want you to focus on results. I want any and everyone to be results driven. So if you see somebody that's not, for example, in my life, my dad was military when I was a child. My mother is a nurse, BSN, which is after the RN, and I didn't want to do either one of those. I wanted to dress in a sport coat or suit, shirt and tie, and lead other people not in the military. But I didn't see that. That was not what was prevalent to me. I grew up on many Army bases or around Army towns, so I don't have an accent, but I am Southern. And my foundations, what I think and believe, are more family based and um, what's Christian based, just because that's what I grew up around. But I didn't see what I wanted to do. So then I read a book or two. I started paying attention. When it came out, I started watching videos. But I was like, I wanted to do something different than what I see the options are for my uncles, for my aunties, for my cousins. I didn't really see anything. But the first thing I knew is that I would always hear the, hey, if you're going to hide something from somebody black, put it in a book. So I ran to the books. I would read. Now, mind you, and when I was a lot younger, I would not finish every book. Once I think I got the gist of it, and I kind of, oh, this is what they were trying to tell me, this is what you're trying to teach me, then I'll probably put the book down. I didn't read all, if it had 12 chapters, I'll probably get through 8, and I got it, okay, I get what they're saying. And then I go to the next book. So I know I didn't finish every book, but I could pretty much tell you what the chapters were about and what you needed to learn from it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm kind of the same with certain books too. It's like I'll thumb through them and try to get to what it is I think it is that the book is trying to tell me, and where the chapter will give me some insight, or I'm real good at what I learned in graduate school was you read the first paragraph, you read the ending paragraph, and you hit a couple of paragraphs in the middle, and you pretty much, right, if it's a well-written book, kind of got your summation from it. So I think that's important, though, that a lot of times your growth or the mindset that is going to lead you to your next level or season isn't always going to be from those in direct contact with you. That some of my best mentors have been books, right? Folks I've never met before, because I would take the book and I would soak up the knowledge and the words and their experiences, their perspectives, and then apply them, to my life. So I think maybe we have mentors that, we haven't met before. And if we look at books that way, right, in terms of teaching us something and not just giving us, some knowledge. Um, I found an article and I wanted to hit a couple of points and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. So, a lot of the work that I do is around Black boys, Black male youth. And I know that this conversation isn't necessarily directed just to that, but to people really of all ages and walks of life. But it says, how do we really address the issue that's affecting primarily young Black youth who seem a little um, disconnected, I guess, from positive role models or from a productive pathway in life? And it says the 6 things to do. And I'm going to tell you which ones I want to highlight. But the 6 things are criminal justice reform, improving the education system, improving employment rates and opportunity, place-based policies, mentorship, and then the last one was reparations. And they had mentioned, this is from the Brookings Institute, so pretty reputable research agency, the Brookings Institute. And they said that those are the 6 things that would basically fix the issue for folks who did not have a positive pathway forward.
I can go off any one of them, right?
You can.
First, we're going to swipe left, or whichever way you were supposed to swipe for the reparations. That's not going to happen. And a brief synopsis of why. Because there's people who don't look like us that do not, will not, cannot, shall not give us a large benefit of what the reparations would look like. And I'm just going to be general. They had it. It actually happened after Reconstruction. They gave out 40 acres and a mule. So that equivalent is, a couple $1 million per person or per family, and they're not going to give out that much money. So let's go away from reparations. And then we're going to skip this. So that was 6 of them. Let's go back to the other 5 that matter. So if we educate ourselves and we have mentors that are in law enforcement and that encourage not to be fully scared of the police, but abide by the rule instead of trying to be rebellious. Unfortunately, we're in a society where in order to move forward, we have to conform to a point. If we can't conform to a point, then the other things are going to make it more difficult. If you're always trying to rebel against the machine, then you're going to have problems. But so there's plenty of room in the machine to operate, live freely, and thrive. So make education a major point, skill or trade. I mean, we put that hyphen in there, skill or trade. Do something where you're set yourself above your high school diploma. Then find you a mentor, someone who's older, someone who's a little bit wiser with a little bit of gray, and either has kids or somebody who wants to give back and say, hey, look, let me show you the way. That's one of my phrases. This is the way. Let me show you how to do it. Let me show you the best way. I mean, I had mentors in multiple facets. I've had mentors who, like one of my best friends, he's a state trooper in the state of Mississippi, so a cop, quote unquote. But I would ask him regular questions. Hey, if I get pulled over, what should I do? If I'm not sure about it, if I think that I'm being profiled, what should I do? And he answers the questions. Even in school, while you're getting your education, to reinforce whatever education you think that you want to do, hey, have multiple mentors who are on campus, off campus, in school, finished school recently. You should be talking to multiple people every week just to make sure that you're still aligning what you think you want to do. Or if something changes in your life, you see something different, ask somebody. Hey, I don't know. I know you don't know me, but so let's just say any young man, he goes up to another older gentleman. He says, hey, I know you don't know me. I like the way you dress. I like the car that you have. What do you do? And can you show me or tell me? And can I call you to ask questions? If somebody came to me like that, yes, I can help you. Let me tell you what I do. Let me explain it in detail. It's not going to be a quick conversation. And let me show you the way. Let me give you that guidance that I received so I can pass this down. Now, everything is not going to be all that easy. You might have to ask multiple people. Sometimes you might meet somebody, he might not be as friendly, but there's somebody who's going to reach out and give you a helping hand. So know to the reparations, educate, mentorship, have an understanding of what's right and wrong. In case you were not correctly informed about what's lawful and what's not, have a full understanding of that. And then again, educate more, read. Even if you don't read a whole book, read an article every day. Spend 30 minutes to an hour just reading, finding knowledge that you don't know. If you're ever bored, listen to a podcast that's informative, read an article, find something that's going to help you know more than you knew the previous day.
Well, that's good. I agree with you. You mentioned the different levels of mentorship, and you talked about making sure that people are positioned effectively, in a sense, and having people that they can go and talk to. Two things that I thought about was one, a mentor of mine told me that I should operate in a tier system, meaning I should have someone that's mentoring me, and then at the same time, I should be mentoring someone else, right? Because most of us will learn faster when we then have to become the teacher. And so while you are reaching up, it's kind of like you're passing down at the same time. So it made me think of that. But then also, I want you to talk a little bit about levels in terms of intensity of mentorship, right? Like, what would be an effective mentor-mentee relationship? Can you talk about number of times they should communicate with one another? How long should that relationship last? Like, if someone really was in a teachable spirit and say, hey, I don't know the answers and I really want to be successful in life. I've identified these people that Blue said should be in my life. Now, what should be my ask of them in terms of their time commitment?
Well, one of the first steps as a mentee before you become into mentorship is understand you need to have thick skin. You need to be a sponge and ready to receive the information. Know that you're not going to be right most of the time. Know that because you're a mentee, you're looking for guidance, and receive the guidance from the person who is doing the activity or have done the activity. As far as just use what you have more of, and that's 2 ears to listen instead of and only the one mouth to speak. So listen more, take notes, then ask questions on what you heard, not to respond to give a rebuttal. That shouldn't be part of it. But listen to understand, listen to implement, and then after you do that. So let's just say you're still in school, whether it be high school or college, You're just making sure you're on the right path and telling them what your thought processes are or what you're thinking, but making sure that you get all that you can from your education, not just the grade, but the information that you receive. When I was in school, it wasn't really about the information about what they taught about communication. It was implementing the information on how to speak, how to project your voice, how to raise your tones, how to give eye contact, how not to blink. Those things, those are very important to. I found out later in life, just being successful in business, having people trust you that don't know you, how to present yourself, what's a good outfit, what should you wear, what shouldn't you wear, what's appropriate, what pants go with what slacks, what's a good sport coat. Like me, I do this one fundamental thing, and some people ask, they don't ask. I wear a class ring on purpose and an actual watch all the time. I bought some iWatches or Samsung watch. No, but nothing says more classic and educated if I have a college class ring and a nice watch. Then that sets you apart. Then pants on your waist. Make sure you have a collared shirt, whether it be a full button up or a polo. I prefer if it's hot, I know I live in the South, sport coats aren't always that functional, but transitioning from spot to spot, take your coat off when you get inside the building. Make sure you're groomed, haircut consistently, groom your face, make sure your nails are cut, make sure you have on some kind of cologne so that you don't smell bad.
Like
So
outdoors.
yeah, like outdoors, have like something of sense that, oh, okay, well, he don't smell bad. And then even if they might not like your cologne, but at least they know there's an effort. So then somebody looks at your body of work. A polished man from head to toe, he's putting a lot of effort into making sure he looks the part. It's not an easy thing. Like I know women say, I don't want a man who takes too long to get ready. Yeah, if he's going into business meeting, he's going to be around people. That's not. He just needs to get up a little earlier and make sure everything is pressed, everything looks good. He's polished to the T. Hair is on point. Beard, brush, teeth brush. No whatever in your eyes. And this presentation that you have will get you indoors before you speak. Before you speak. Then after you speak, then they really be impressed because not only is he visually sharp, he's mentally and vocally sharp. That's a complete man.
I love it. I don't disagree with anything that you said. My follow-up question would be, who's teaching our young people that, right? Not just the young men to do those things, but then also I was in the salon today, right?
Obviously.
And is that a compliment?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was in the salon today, and you know how women get. We get to chatting, and somehow or another, conversation turns to men, right? And I was really enjoying the conversation because it is a lot of the things that I've been conversing about over the last couple of months. And so we were talking about men being protectors and providers and being leaders and, wanting the ability to just lean into a man that we can trust to say, hey, I got you. And what does that look like? And talking about some bumps along the way and that kind of thing. But one of the things that we all kind of agreed upon is that folks younger than us, and dare I say folks our age too, don't always know how to look for those things. Even young women, they sometimes get caught up in, the fast money being spent, right? Because he's trying to pull her, and then once he got her, he really didn't have it. He just did the things he needed to do. But we don't know how to spot like the authenticity of, is this man a leader? Is he ready to protect, to provide? So as you're talking about the things that young men should learn as a part of their routine in showing up in the world, who's teaching them that? And then also, are our young ladies being taught that this is what you're looking for, because this is what young men are being taught as well? So I just wonder, we know these things at our age and have had other experiences, but do you think that people are then turning to the younger generation? I think it's Generation Z and Generation Alpha at this point, and talking to them about, this is how you show up in the world, and this is why.
I don't think anyone's teaching them. I think that it's going to take some people like me leading from the front. It's going to take other men that I know who are accomplished in work and are visually consistent. Like they don't come out the house looking like they don't matter. And I hate this phrase I keep on hearing. I don't care what other people think. No, you should. We've gotten really lax on in the 40s, 50s, 60s, right after the Depression. It was common for everyone to, if you weren't in the field or doing concrete work or working with your hands, you wore a suit. You wore a suit to the bank. You wore a suit to church. You were consistent. Nobody was wondering, oh, hey, is he business casual? But we've gotten too lax overall, both men and women. And sometimes you can't really tell. I know women who wear yoga pants or tights or whatever you want to call them. There's 5 different names for them. They wear them just like they're going to work out. You're not going to work out. You're going to work. Well, I want to be comfortable. That's the most important thing. I don't want you to be comfortable. If you work for me, I want you to have a standard uniform. I want you to look a certain way so people know, hey, this person's either working or they're functioning properly in society.
Yeah.
Young men need to find someone who looks the part and does the job that they want to do. And unfortunately, that's lacking. So I'm going to come up with my first book. I was thinking it before we came up. A Southern Man Guide to Being a Gentleman. It's going to be a title, Volume 1. And give me some time, and I want to start adding some classes on what's proper etiquette. What should you do? What should you not do?
Mm-hmm.
And I still hadn't really registered this as well. When women are mad if a man says, ma'am, and get frustrated. No, my name is not ma'am. My name is blah, blah, blah. Well, in a general sense of respect, if you don't know someone's name or their name is hard to pronounce, you issue them a ma'am or sir, and then they know they're trying to respect you instead of saying hey or yo. Ma'am should always be an acceptable version of a greeting that somebody should accept and say, okay, this person's trying to respect me. But sometimes I hear on these IG and YouTube streets, no, don't call me ma'am, don't call me sir. Well, why not? I'm trying to show you an exponential higher level of respect, and they don't want it. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. I think there's a lot of things there, and probably one is a whole other show. Whereas I think internally women don't always get excited about aging. And so that ma'am kind of makes them feel it's the same conversation. I don't want us to go on a rabbit hole on this as I get ready to go on one around the whole auntie thing. Don't call me auntie. I'm not your auntie, right? And for some young people who are in certain demographic, that's their way of saying, I feel comfortable with you. Maybe the ma'am part or the miss is too formal, but now auntie feels a little bit better. And I'm just like, I personally look at either of those as a sign of respect, not them, being this word we've been loving to say lately, disingenuous about it, but to not, again, like I started this, I was raised in the South and I'm 42. My mama will still take all my teeth out my mouth if I talk to anybody who's 20 years older than me and not put a miss in front of it, right? And I'm good and grown, as you can see with my gray hair. But that's just what we were taught. And so it got me thinking. You were talking about how they need to find someone that can help teach them these things. Do you know what to ask for? It's almost like you don't know what question to ask if you don't have enough information. So I wonder, is there some responsibility shared on both sides? Meaning, you know what you need, and if you don't see it in front of you because you are now embarking on something new, yes, there's a responsibility to then go and get what you need. But then also, let me just make it plain. So, because this is what people know me for on my show, is just to say the thing. And I'll say the thing. Black folks, mostly middle class and upper middle class and wealthy Black folks, have this mentality. I got mine, you go get yours. I'm not concerned about you if you're not in my immediate vicinity of relation or community or whatnot. That's not my problem. Until your daughter, right, starts driving and dating and she meets this young man whose mama did not have the same opportunity or didn't take advantage of the same opportunity. And now her daughter and your daughter have now met, and now you're wondering why you're not getting the desired outcome that you're looking for. So my thing is, they need to find, but I also think they need to be found, if that makes sense. That, is there some shared responsibility for those of us who've quote unquote made it to then say, hey, here's a young person who is trying. We see active potential in them, right? But in their immediate circle, they don't have the tools and the resources to get what they need. Do we not go back and get them, or do we just wait for them to figure it out on their own and hope for the best?
I think we should find a way to go and find them. Like I need to actively be mentoring somebody in high school, somebody in college, somebody who's working. I think that those are the three levels that you if you've made it to a point, other people look up to you, then you should be looking down to say, hey, look, this is how you can raise your eye level to where I am, and let it be a process. Find some kid who's between a freshman and senior in high school, and then find another person. I'm in a fraternity. I could pick up a fraternity guy who's in college and say, hey, look, you have any questions? Do you want to know what steps you should take? What's going to work for you? I failed at these parts, so I can tell you, instead of you falling on your face, just listen to me. And then somebody who's in business, hey, what should I do? What should I try to do to get to the next level in my job? What can I do to show them that I'm interested? I want to be promoted. I want to advance. What steps should I take?
Yeah.
Those are very important steps that each man and woman, child, or a teenager or young adult need to have. You need to have somebody saying, hey, no, don't do that. Or, you know what? You're 18, 19. Don't party so much. Work an extra part-time job. Make it more quarterly that you go out versus weekly. Or, hey, don't buy that brand new car. Save up, buy a cash car, keep it for a year and a half, save that money, then go get you a used car that's 3 years old. Follow that process.
Mm.
Now, you always want to have the ability to purchase a vehicle almost outright, and then based on your income, based on your multiple incomes that you should have, and or your situation, then get you a better car as your finances grow, and find a way to live at a reasonable mean of what you have, where you can always at least save 10% of your income, and then as your percentage goes up, the more that you can save, and then come up with a structured way to save, as well as, hey, am I going to go back to school? What can I do to better myself? What am I reading? Am I exercising? Am I eating right? Am I not making bad choices? Am I around the right people? All these things matter in your outcomes. Put, as you do your own vision board, because I did one for my job the other day, put the things that matter. Write your outcomes where you want to be first. Like, you should do your 5-year, 3-year, then 1 year. That way, you know, here's where I want to be over here. Now I need to plan myself to get there versus saying I'm gonna plan this year and then I'll figure out. No, set your long-term goal and then set your short term in order to achieve the long term. So I know that's a different way to think about it, but it should work. You should, again, the most important thing are your desired results. The most important thing is getting where you want to be. And then if you get there early, if you achieve said results, move your cheese. That's a book I read by Zig Ziglar. Move your cheese and move it further. Treat yourself like the rat on the wheel and move it out. So, oh, well, I got here a little early, or I got here, it was a 3-year plan. I got there in 18 months. I worked hard. I did time. They promoted me sooner. So now with my 5 and make my 3, okay, well, set you a new goal. It's okay. Set you a new goal. Set your goal for 5 years, come back with 3, come back with your 1, keep moving it. As you achieve, because I have a lot of mottos I go by. Set, achieve, exceed. Consistent, always reevaluating where you are, what you need to do next, and how you can do it better.
Yeah. You're talking right, but it's tight. Meaning that these are not things that culturally we experience around the dinner table when we're having conversations, right? Some families are, don't get me wrong, I always have to put that disclaimer out there. Can you imagine the number of people who hit me up who want to give me their very rare kind of outlier experience? I'm like, y'all, come on, we're talking generally, right? So kudos to you if you having these conversations with your children, but historically we're not. And I think a lot of us were in position to, because even for folks who had the money, they were hustling and grinding to keep it, right? And it wasn't always the bandwidth or the energy available then to walk your children through these things. So I think it is important that we are having these conversations with younger folks, because they just need to know, and hopefully they'll be in a better situation sooner. So one of the things that I challenge a lot of folks around, because you hit on a couple of things that I think are absolutely true. Don't buy a new car just because you can, right? Or don't overextend yourself to buy one. Same thing with people, and everything has to be luxury. Everything has to be brand name. Everything has to have a emblem or a monogram on it or whatnot. And don't get me wrong, I love nice things. My philosophy around purchasing luxury items, because I have some, is they are attached to a goal that I met. Once I've met that goal and I have saved my money for that goal, I then go and indulge in the thing that I want. You will never see me at Lenox or Phipps, right? Just perusing because it's a Saturday and I got money to burn in my pocket. It doesn't work like that for me. But what I find is that when we have these conversations with people in general about saving your money, investing your money, my daddy used to tell me all the time, pay your tithes and pay yourself. Everybody else falls in line after that, right? I get it. But then when you see people on social media and they have these unboxing videos, right? Like, oh, I was bored, retail therapy, and it's Chanel, and it's Louis, and it's Gucci, and it's Fendi, and it's MCM. And then we tell children, oh, don't worry about this. We tell people who want to show up as someone who can run with the big dogs in corporate, oh, well, if you don't worry about this, right? But we've kind of set this unspoken expectation that in order to be looked at as successful, you have to have these things. But then the conversation is counter to people who are like, but you told me I needed this $1,000 pair of shoes to be taken seriously when I walked in the room. And that really wasn't what it was. So I think, generally speaking, more of us have to be more mindful of how we flaunt the things we've worked hard for, right? And balance that with the conversation that we're having. And I only mention that because I live in Atlanta. And the work that I do has me in rooms with people I probably could not have even dreamt of sitting down with and breaking bread with and all of those things. And I had this woman come to me and she said to me, she said, "You're really pretty." I'm like, "Thank you." She was like, "But, next time you come in here," she said, "I'm going to send you a note of all the things that I think you need to get in order for you to be able to walk in this room like the boss that you are." I'm like, I don't even like how this getting ready to sound, because one, while I may be a boss, I don't walk around with boss mentality in the sense of, puffed up chest and all of this. Anyway, one of the things on that list, aside from the Louis bag and, Cartier bracelets and all of that, was she told me I needed to upgrade my car. And I'm like, well, my car works fine, right? I drive a Volkswagen. Some people say it's luxury. It don't feel like it to me, but okay. She's like, you need to upgrade your car. She's like, you need to either have a BMW, a Mercedes, a Tesla, or a Porsche. I'm like, are you going to pay the notes? And so she's like, well, I'm pretty sure you can afford. I said, that's not what I said. I said, are you going to pay the notes? It's not about what I can afford or not. This is not a good use of my money. And if the only way that you're going to take me seriously is based on the emblem of the keychain that I have when I walked in here to drop my bag on the table, then it gives me this false sense of security that anything that we're discussing is real or valid, because you are summing up whether or not you want to work with me based on how I compliment your facade and compliment your appearance. And so I said all that to ask your perspective around how do we balance that? Because Black folks are the biggest consumers. Let's just be real. And Black women lead the top of that in terms of the money spent for various reasons. So if we feel like we got to show up a certain way, but then we do need to build wealth and legacy, like how do we do both, or do we need to like dismiss this narrative of the only way to be taken seriously is to show up in this cookie cutter mold?
We don't. The richest people in the room, oftentimes you can't tell. You want other people. I said this to somebody. They're like, I'm this, I'm. No, you should hear he's, she's, someone introducing, saying this person is this, that he has accomplished this. Let the other people speak for you, then you can just smile and nod. You don't have to have this BMW, this Beamer, or Benz, or Porsche, or Tesla. Those status symbols, you should be judged by your portfolio, whether it be your real estate portfolio, whether it be your stocks, your bonds, not bonds. I'm not going to lie. I've never told anybody about bonds. Your stocks, your cryptocurrency, if you were into that. I'm not anymore. Or just your ETFs or mutual funds, something that's going to earn you money while you sleep. This is what you should be judged by. Do you have a small business? Do you have another passive income? Does this meeting really matter to you because you already have enough income, so it doesn't really matter? There's a book I read called FU Money. When you can go in and the business deal is not going to make or break you, then you talk to them differently. Then you will be ready to get up off that table and go about your business and find a deal that's more financially beneficial to you.
Yeah.
Saying, oh man, I gotta have this deal in order to make next week's payroll. So when you come in and these are the more things, or if you have so here's the one thing about cars, luxury cars at that. Everybody, the thing about a luxury car, you often can't tell the year because they're normally kept very well. A lot of people have older Beamers, Mercedes, or Porsches, and you can't tell that it's 10 or 15 years old. They didn't buy it brand new, or if they did buy it brand new, they paid it off in 6 years and they keep it maintaining. The longevity that you can keep a high value item, whether it be a watch, clothing, a vehicle, especially your home, that determines your wealth. Because when you don't have to spend anything but maintenance, then your finances change. Then you're really looking to invest in another passive income or more real estate, but not another car to impress somebody. And if you get a new car, there's people who have enough finances where they lease things. I'm not there yet. Somebody's explained it to me, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be there. But me, you're going to see me pulling up in some kind of pickup truck, whether it be the Tundra that I have now or a dually, but I'm going to be in some kind of pickup truck with 4 doors, comfortable, and I don't care if you don't like it. I'm going to look sharp. I'm going to be presentable. I'm going to smell nice. I'm going to be groomed. And this is the determination of you doing business with me. If I don't pull up in a Mercedes or a Lincoln or a Cadillac, that's not going to make or break me. My intelligence, my information, my ability to complete a task or do a job well will determine whether you do business with me. And I want Black people to stop worrying about what they want to project and worry about what they actually have. I want to have conversations about, yeah, man, VOO just went up 2 points today and that made me $500. Or, my 2 or 3 of my REITs I have in one portfolio, and I got paid out today for my monthly dividends, and I'm at up to $1,000 because I reinvest. Which means you put it back in. So I'm like, those are conversations that we need to have. Oh, so you're not worried about your 401k because your REIT and your investment portfolio pays you $5,000 a month because you invested in it for the last 15, 20 years, or you had a good windfall and you just put all this money into, now you not only do you get paid monthly, but now you own all these stocks. So you have a legacy. They always talk about generational wealth, but real estate is not for everybody. Everybody have the intelligence and or patience for real estate. But you can buy a REIT, which is basically buying a mortgage, and you can put your money in. It's going to pay you monthly. Sometimes you just got to read and figure out what's best for you, because everybody doesn't need to go have a passive income. They just want to work their job, be a supervisor, manager, or leader, and then make their money, and then they're comfortable. Because if you save your money appropriately, live below your means, don't worry about the Joneses. In fact, you know what? Anybody named Jones, I don't want to talk to, because I'm going to set my standard as Allen, and this is how I'm going to live.
They're going to be saying, keeping up with the Allens.
Well, you can strive.
I love it. I'm not laughing because I don't agree. I think that we do need to be more bold in the decisions we make that go outside the box, right? We started just talking about thinking outside the box. And it is true, that wealth generation and accumulation requires a skill set, but it also requires a lot of patience that a lot of times we just don't have. I want to segue really quickly, kind of as we kind of get to like maybe the last segment of tonight's conversation. Yesterday I was on a live and we were talking about, I can't even remember what the actual topic was, but we got stuck on the culture for the culture and all of that. And so I made reference to this book called Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria, right, by Beverly Tatum. And one thing that she wrote in this book is called The Corporate Cafeteria. And I just want to read it really quickly. It says, when I told my sister I was writing a book called Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria, she said, good, then maybe people will stop asking me about it. My sister spends her time not at a high school or college campus, but in a corporate office. Even in corporate cafeterias, Black men and women are sitting together, and for the same reason. As we have seen, even mature adults sometimes need to connect with someone who looks like them and shares the same experiences. And so I was thinking about this paragraph in the conversation that we were having, and even as it relates to tonight, when we were talking about not having these conversations with our children or our family members around go get a job and don't feel like you got to spend money because you got paid, right? Like saying that thing. And a lot of times what we have found is that we're having similar conversations around the table or not because of shared experiences, regardless of our income level or social status. In life, I also make the reference that most Black folks, not all, we don't have to ask each other, well, what are you having for Thanksgiving? Because 85% of it's gonna be the same, right? Like we're gonna have a turkey, we're gonna have some mac and cheese, we're gonna have some collard greens, some stuff in a dressing, however you decide you want to prepare, some candy. Anyway, right? We know because of a shared experience. Do you think we need to create a new shared experience amongst us to secure the future of our community? And if so, how would you describe that new shared experience?
First comment is always dressing, not stuffing. Let's get that right and be on the same page.
I agree. I'm just saying some people like to put,
Listen,
it's dressing in my house.
No, listen. If somebody invites me to their house for Thanksgiving and they say they're eating stuffing, that means the invitation is then rescinded because I'm not. It must be dressing, no exceptions. And I do want chicken and or turkey in it, or the dressing to be in the turkey that you baked. Now, I know my family, we fry turkeys, but we still put extra turkey into the dressing. Okay.
Yeah.
As far as the cafeteria subject, yes, it is natural to go sit with somebody who looks like you so that you think that you're going to have a common denominator, you'll have a common thread to talk about. But sometimes you need to sit at a table that nobody looks like you, especially if you have. Now, there's been times where nobody looked like me. I've been in a lot of situations like that. So then I go to the people who are in my department, or they do the same job that I do, and then I listen to what they're saying. Quiet first. Some people say, "Well, I met you and you were so quiet, you didn't say anything." I need to observe. Use these two first before I use this, so I know what to say, what not to say, so that they won't be uncomfortable with me, so that I can learn, I can adapt. Because that's one thing as an Army brat, you learn to adapt. You move around every 4 years. I don't have unlike a lot of people, my elementary friends, my middle school friends, and my first half of high school friends, I don't know and have not seen. So you adapt accordingly. And yes, I totally understand. You want to go around the people that you have a common denominator with, if it's your skin color or where you're from or how you talk. But sometimes you need to go outside and add somebody else in, because as you're in a corporate setting, you're going to sit with the people that do the work that you do, not necessarily look how you look, because you're going to want to talk shop, as they say. You're going to want to talk about the job that you're doing, and you want to let them know that, oh, just because I don't look like you don't mean I'm not a human from America. And we have a lot of commonalities. We don't do everything the same, but you'll find that we're more in common than we're not in common, especially if we're American. And especially if we're Christian American. We have a lot of things that are similar. We just don't look alike. We sometimes don't sound alike, but that's okay. Understand the person and then say, hey, you should be trying to find a kinship with that person to either get you past the next point or learn some information that you didn't know. So sitting with somebody who doesn't look like you is not always a bad thing. Because what do you do when there's nobody who looks like you and you're the only one? I work for a company right now where I am one of 5 out of hundreds of people. One of 5. I'm in a leadership role, but one of 5. And I've actually, since I graduated from college in transportation, I've always been one of 10, no more than 20, even if there's 200 or 300 people that work for the company, not your drivers, but in the management side. And if there's nobody else that looks like me to sit beside, so I have to sit beside the others, have to learn and adapt. And learning and adapting, compromising will get you a lot more places. And then learning, there's a book, you mentioned books, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That will put you in a better situation. The whole thing about, I don't care what people think, that is not part of that book's teachings. That I think that's idiotic. You should want people to at least appreciate your presence and be happy that you're there working, and then have other common, like for men, we'll talk about sports, football, basketball, baseball, whatever the case, boxing, MMA. Women, you just kind of, women, as a man, you want to talk about kids, you want to talk about cooking, food, something like that, but have something to say. Almost have it planned out so that you can break the ice and make sure nobody's uncomfortable. And being a man, you should lead that conversation. Hey, good morning, how are you? And not be frustrated. If you need to drink your coffee and walk a mile in the morning so that you're refreshed and woke, then that's what you need to do. But know that you need to be the icebreaker and be willing to, if somebody speaks to you, good morning to you. How are you? How was your night? Or how was your weekend? And two sentences is all you got to have. Oh, I didn't do too much. Or, yeah, I put something on the grill. Or, yeah, I went to a movie. And that's it. They're not really asking you how you really feel. There's a Southern phrase, how you doing today? Don't answer that damn question. You need to give a generalized, non-in-depth answer. And please, for the people in the back, a generalized, non-in-depth answer.
Why can't you answer the question?
Because they don't really care. And you don't want to be in a situation where you answer and then you realize they've checked out before you even finish the end of your sentence. The general, I'm good, or I'm well, which is actually the proper way to say it, but we in the South, so more people say I'm good, or I had fun, or hung out with the family, and leave it at that. People try to answer the question like they really want to know. They don't really want to know.
Yeah. I mean, it's very true. Very true. I like to ask something that's kind of controversial every episode, so don't take it personal. Do you think it's easier for Black folks to move between two worlds, or do you think it's easier for white folks? And I know there's a lot of people in between, but to keep it simple, is it easier for Black folks to move between these worlds, being able to sit at other tables of folks that don't look like them, knowing how to engage them, how they have to show up, or here's a better question: who has to move between two worlds more, Black
Oh,
folks or white folks?
okay. Don't change the question no more. Okay. We're good. I'm going to answer the second one first. White people don't have to move. They are the majority of Americans in America. They don't have to move. We have to adjust to them. Why? Because we are the minor minority. We're not the major minority. That is like Hispanics, blah, blah, blah. We, as Black American, African American, Afro American, coloreds, whatever you want to call it, we are the minor minority, and we have to adjust to the others who are the majority. Now, this part most people won't like. If you set your standard of how you speak, how you act, how you talk, how you breathe, how you how you handle anybody walking, then you don't have to adjust anything. Yes, you can understand people that, like, I don't speak fluent country, but I have relatives that do understand what they're saying. I will basically interpret what they're saying, and then I'll say it back the way I speak, the King's English. I'm not going to adjust, because then I don't have to worry about turning it on and off, because it's always on. And it's simpler to keep it on and not turn it off than trying to decipher when I'm comfortable and when I should turn it on and off, like some people. And then the problem that I've seen with people who desire to turn it on and off, they turn it off on the wrong times. And now they're being judged on what their vernacular is when they think that you're comfortable. But if you never get comfortable, because this is your—
Did we lose you?
hold on. Okay.
Yeah, you. Okay, there you go.
Sorry about that. Sorry. And if you turn it, if you keep it on, then you never have to have a situation where something slips, you're a little bit improper, and they're looking at you like, oh, I wasn't ready for that. So I would say to others, find your standard, set your standard, raise it consistently, and then keep your speech, your presentation, to a point that you would never have to worry about somebody looking at you funny. And then it won't get to you. That's why two of the people that I really admire, because of what they had to go through, is Jackie Robinson and Bill Russell. And any other Black athlete that endured Jim Crow South and or broke the color barrier in their sport, because you have to have the mental fortitude in order to endure. But this fortitude that they had opened up doors for everybody behind them.
Absolutely. I do agree. It's making me think too, because part of my approach to communication, especially in environments that don't mirror my community or my shared experiences, is I am much more mindful. My mom taught school for 38 years, and we got the classic can't say ain't, right? You had to enunciate. You needed the inflection and the tone to know if it was a statement or a question. We could not say right? So those things were indoctrinated in me. And I realized that it took me a lot further in my predominantly white high school and middle school, because, dare I say, it let their guard down that I was somebody amenable, someone that they could then communicate with, because they didn't feel as though they were going to have to decipher or decode the language that I was going to use. But as I got a little older, I realized that for me, it was a strain, because I never wanted to just speak the King's English because I like being different. Yeah, I had a friend who's not melanated who used to tell me all the time, I love you, KaCey. Like, I don't see your color. It's like, that's disrespectful to me. I want you to see my color. I want you to see my color. I want you to see all this beautiful dark chocolate skin. I want you to love it. I want you to embrace it. I want you to appreciate it. Right. And she's like, but that's not what I meant. I was like, I know what you meant. But I think language is important. And so it was then that I decided that I can't not I cannot speak any other way. When I say my mama drilled it in us, she drilled it in us. So 9 times out of 10, you're gonna understand everything I say. I'm gonna use the proper verb and noun agreement. I'm gonna do that. But then there's sometimes where I need you to remember I'm not one of you. And so there are things that I sometimes insert. I remember the first time I was in an all white space, I was at a conference and someone came to me. She's like, okay, well, you going to bed tonight? I was like, yeah, I'll see y'all at day clean. And she was like, what? I was like, yep, when the day, clean, fresh start, and, explain it to her. She's like, oh, I've never heard that before. I was like, I'm pretty sure you haven't, right? But for me, it was that one little thing that I could do that wasn't necessarily ebonics, for the lack of another term, that gave me a little sense of, no, don't get too comfortable with me now. I'm still over here. And I think a lot of that also comes from my father being Gullah Geechee and it being a nod, right, in very subtle ways. Like, I don't have the full language, I don't have the full dialect. There's some things that I can say. I can definitely interpret all of my family, when we're at reunions and they are, speaking a whole another language, and being able to then decipher it to my friends. But sometimes I like those little nods, those little, don't get too comfortable with me. Like, I want you to see me as someone that is going to be able to go toe to toe with you at any given time, but I still need you to see me, if that makes sense. So.
Agreed. And I don't want, like I said, I don't want to get too comfortable. At the same time, I don't want anyone else getting too comfortable. I don't want you to, say something that is considered racist if everybody's not paying attention, and me give you a pass because we're quote unquote friends. No, we're associates,
Yep.
and you don't get a pass.
Yep.
And I think that that's very important. You might not like my color, but you're going to respect my intelligence, you're going to respect my knowledge, and you're going to respect me in general.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, we are coming up on time. We're at time. It's 9:00. So I want to encourage folks to follow Ricardo at Unfiltered Polo Blue on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing to his channel there. To follow him on IG. I think you're going live on IG after this.
No, not tonight.
Tonight, okay.
I'm focused today, and after this, I'm going to cut some watermelon and relax.
Well, I feel special. Thank you for giving us your time tonight. But y'all definitely go follow him. I again assure you, you will enjoy the content. You will learn something each and every time. Check us out on your favorite podcast platforms, also on our YouTube page. And we'll see you next time. If you would like to be a guest, let us know. If you learned something or enjoyed something, please feel free to share this amongst your network and your friends so that they can get the information and be a part of the conversation as well. And Ricardo, thank you for joining us again on tonight's episode of On the Front Porch. We'll see y'all next time.
This is the way.